Okay.
Okay, office hours for, I cannot believe it. It's February 1st. I don't know where the time has gone. So welcome, Jeanette. What's your question?
Okay, so I'm the PI of a T32. We have a trainee who is in her second year. She's a pre-doctoral trainee. So her normal end date is June 30th. So she just got an F31 award. And she's trying to figure out when to start it. So I'm confused about the notice of award. So she got the notice of award and it says budget period start date, July 24, 2024.
Oh, okay.
But our Office of Contracts and Grants, the NIH, I stumbled across a website that says that you can start anytime up to 90 days before your notice of award.
Okay.
So your institutional OCGA just fronts you the money.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, okay. So if I'm understanding you correctly, you have a pre-doc. She's already been on your training grant for what, 6 months or?
A year and 6 months. We usually put them on for.
And then she received an F31.
She received an F31.
And
she got the notice of award. The notice of award says start date July 24, 2024.
Okay.
So her normal end date for our T32 would have been June 30, 2024. But so I was like, how is she gonna get paid for those 24 days? Well, now they're telling me that that she can actually start immediately. She can start up to 90 days before her start date. So her PI is telling her, well, you should start immediately because the F31 is more prestigious.
Yeah, but you also don't want to lose your, could you, if she's been appointed for 6 months and you removed her from the T32, you're going to lose that money. You can't replace, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking that they usually would put it would end up in unobligated funds and I could make a request to use it.
Exactly, yeah.
So I'm not worried from my point of view, but I'm just confused about the start date. So
the fellowships, without seeing the notice of award, but the fellowships have an activation date. They're slightly different than a T32 in the sense that you have to activate it. And so I think
is that the same as, okay, it says latest activation date 7/24/24. Latest activation date.
Yeah. So
July 24th.
I mean, if she ends on your grant June 30th,
yeah,
then you could start her July 1 on her F31. That's the latest.
Yeah. Well, that totally made sense to me. I guess I'm confused why it says start date is July 24 and it also says latest activation.
Yeah, because you have to activate it by then.
Yeah, but the only thing that to me is confusing is that let's see, her PI wants her to start immediately.
Yeah, so I would.
Is there any rationale for that?
I don't, unless, I mean, so I assume the PI is picking up the gap, right, between.
Well, according to, so if you look at this, hang on a second, let me put this in the chat. Okay, so this is from the NIAID website.
Okay, oh, this is the institute.
Yeah.
Grants or institution can allow you to start spending that money. Yeah, there's a 90-day pre-spending.
Okay, so theoretically, so if the latest activation date is July 24, she could theoretically start the grant 90 days before July.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on, she can activate it for, March 1st, or could you send me an email with the activation notice? Because I really want to look at it, and I haven't dealt with an F fellowship in a really long time, so I might be
Uh,
relying on other
ye-
people, but, so yeah, it depends on the activation.
okay. Is there a way to, okay, fine, I'll just email it to you. I thought there was a
Yeah,
way to send it through
you can probably direct
Zoom.
message it to me in the chat. I don't think you want us to have everyone see your NOA.
Oh, I suppose. Yeah. I was thinking that everybody, that there's all
We,
these experts here.
actually,
So
yeah,
maybe,
you could do that.
uh,
It's up to you. I just didn't want to,
um,
you
well,
know,
it is hers. So maybe I should be a little
yeah.
more sensitive about it. So,
Yeah, I don't
okay,
know if
fine.
there's anybody on the call that is, Kelly may be familiar with F31s, because I know she has a pre-doc program, and Carol. But it's been years since I've done an F31,
Okay.
or had one activated. Never done one, Kelly?
Just both of mine are T32s.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just sent it to you. So, so if you activate an NIH grant before the start date, then
Okay, sorry, go ahead. Yes, then she could do that 90-day pre-award spending.
but then when you in the NIH records, isn't the start date still July 24?
So the budget period would be, yeah, I have to look at that.
Yeah,
Just-
I'm pretty sure that the award dates still say the same. Pre-award spending is different than the actual award dates and the reporting
Okay.
due dates and everything like that. It's just a clause that
Yeah.
allows us to do that.
So
Sorry
it's
for
so it, oh no, I was hoping to use the collective brain power of this.
No.
Because it would be a little easier for me bookkeeping wise to have her end at the normal time, and to me it doesn't seem like there's any good rationale for starting early. Her PI said, oh well, it's more prestigious, but when you look at all the records, it's going to say she was awarded this grant July 24th, so it doesn't really matter.
I completely agree. I don't know why. Like, I would explain
Okay.
it to their mentors, like, let's maximize
Yeah.
all of our dollars, not just
I know.
membership.
Well, she's she's convinced. So she got the award for 3 years, and she's convinced that she's going to be done long before then. Well, everyone thinks that.
I've heard that before. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I hate to say that to her, but I was like, well,
I mean,
So,
okay, so say if she is done early, then okay, she has to send money back eventually,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
But,
yeah.
I mean,
So,
I personally would recommend
Yeah.
maximizing the dollars, keeping her
Yeah.
on 30th, and then switching her to the F31.
yeah,
Either way, like that PI is going to have to, fill in the gap, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think it matters. I mean, but
okay,
for me, it looks better for your program if the person's on there consistently for 2 years, even if they're going off to be on a fellowship. But
yeah.
So,
Okay. Well, that's really good advice. That's what I was looking for. Thank you very much.
yeah, I mean, if anyone
I'll
else
talk to
wants
them.
to chime in, I just don't know.
It didn't make sense to me. So I thought maybe somebody here would say, oh yes, that's because blah, blah, blah. But if there's no compelling reason, then I'm going to try to suggest that they don't do that. It just doesn't I don't think their rationale is valid.
I've worked in contracts and grants for a very long time. The 90-day pre-award spending doesn't change the actual award dates that NIH issues it for. Still going to have the same end date as well. And as Jill said too, if you don't spend all of the money, you're going to have to return part of it anyways.
Yeah. Okay. That is
so it's interesting. Like, they don't put budget dates or budget period on here. They're just putting the activation date. So you have to have it activated by July 24th. But if you get it activated to start July 1st, that's fine, And And then
So
that
that's
way,
the latest activation date. So what's the earliest activation date?
I guess right now, because when did you receive this? You received this 124 just a couple days ago or last week.
Yeah.
So you could probably
So,
start.
oh, so she could actually activate it right now, and that would be the official start date? That July
Could,
24
So
is
since
just
the
the
board was
latest start date.
processed on 124, I mean, I guess so, but I mean, I think because there's an activation notice, like a form they have to fill out. And we're testing my memory here. But you have to fill it out, right, Tanya? Is that correct?
Yeah.
So
So
then
then,
you can put on the activation notice what day you want it to be active.
oh, so if she activated it right now, it wouldn't be considered pre-award spending. Okay, I
No,
got
but
it.
she doesn't need the money right now, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I would really push the mentor saying, you know, it looks better for my program to have her on there for 2 years.
Yeah.
You know,
Some of them still have it on the notice of award. Sorry, I'm Tanya Reese. A long time ago, I used to work in graduate division, now GEPA, as the fellowship supervisor. and I apologize, I'm very sick. Some of them would have on the notice of award a certain area where it would say you can't activate at this particular time. Like I want to say like October, depending on that particular notice of award. The PIs have a tendency to want to activate it early because they might want the pre-doctoral student off of their spending and onto the other spending.
Yeah.
So depending on what you're seeing, because again, I can't see it, don't activate it early.
Okay. Okay. Good. That's good advice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
and I'm going to put the activation notice. I just looked it up on the NIH website, and I just put it in the chat for you because that's the form they need to fill out when they do activate it. Okay, who else has questions today? Hi, Elizabeth, how are you? Remind me what campus you're on. You're UC?
UCSB.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah, and I just wanted to pop in today and see what everybody's doing in regards to the whole entire union contract, and stating that our students on the training grant who are being paid by stipend are employees, and the way that we're going to have to put them in UC Path because it's a direct violation of the award terms and conditions from NIH. And it's also got limitations on, you know, what type of supplementation you can give them, if you want to call it supplementation, versus incidental employment up to 25% that's not related to their stipend. And we just received another notice from our campus doubling down and putting in writing that all students who are trainees and fellows are now considered employees. And one, we don't want to have NIH take our awards away because we're violating the terms. Two, we're also worried about the fact that it's a violation of federal labor law and IRS tax law if you're calling somebody an employee but then saying they're not an employee and not giving them a W-2. So we're just curious as to what other campuses are doing. We, quite frankly, told our campus, we're not doing this. And unless you provide us, you know, writing and documentation from the awarding agencies that this is okay, as well as, you know, potentially from the IRS, we're not going to do it. We're going to continue to pay them with stipends. And also,
So I want to make sure I'm understanding correctly. Sorry to interrupt you. We're talking pre-docs, right?
yes. Oh yeah, sorry, pre-doc.
No, it's okay. So the pre-docs, and I've heard about this, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's going to go live for all the campuses at the same time, or because I've heard just a little bit at UCSD, but I've been out of this conversation. Unfortunately, I've been left out. So if we put them through a UC path, like, then they're going to have taxes taken out, right?
They're going to have taxes taken out. They're required to also keep time cards. They are subject to the rules of employment, including time off. Our campus is also requiring us to do an appointment letter, so an employment letter with a list of their job duties, etc. And what we have told our campus, and I actually also had a meeting with UCOP, was that they don't even make the definition of a GSR per the contract because we are not paying them to do research. This is a training grant. This is for educational purposes, and this is a stipend. There's not a work product that is expected out of them.
So this is a huge issue.
Yeah, it is.
I guess I didn't realize it was coming down this quickly because it sounds like I mean, I don't know. I would assume it's all going live at the same time. I guess maybe
Yeah,
not.
I believe it is.
On my part.
I've talked with the graduate affairs manager in the bioengineering department at UC San Diego, Vanessa.
Oh, so you talked to Irene Home.
Yeah, I've talked to Irene and Vanessa. Vanessa's kind of like on the ground level with this.
Irene is really, really good. Yeah, because that's very concerning. Because if you look right at the NIH policy, right, it would be a direct violation.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and then the other thing that they're doing too, and making it very weird, is that when they want you to put them in UC Path, depending on what step of GSR they are, they're telling you to say that their percentage is whatever the stipend number backs into as a percentage of their step. And that their supplement, they're saying is for wages. And this is the only way that you can supplement the students who are trainees or fellows, which this also will apply to F31 supplementation as well. So this is, and they're bound by those, rules as well. And so, depending on what step GSR they are for their department, everybody's percentage of effort would be different. And again, saying that it's percentage of effort and codifying this when they're not actually working is, a bigger issue.
Yeah, definitely. So we have not received any guidance from our campus on this. I think with Irene back in like December, we put in tickets in the system to get, the graduate division for someone to answer us. No one has answered us.
That's what Vanessa told me as well. And any answers are basically just copying and pasting from the graduate contract, which is what we got to until I escalated it all the way up to UCOP, and it did not go well.
So I'm just trying to think.
I'll be honest, UCOP, if any of you have campuses and your labor relations people are saying that UCOP vetted these with the funding agencies, they did not.
They did, yeah. Wow. So how do we wrap our heads or arms around this one to try to come up with a solution? Because this is obviously going to affect all of us.
Well, I was wondering, and our PI, she's also the chair of our department here.
Is that
wondering if Beth Pruitt?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were actually wondering if maybe in this group, something that we could work on would be a collaborative letter signed by all of the campuses with training grants, sending to UCOP to, I think honestly, we have to skip over labor relations and go higher than that, because I will tell you again, they gag ordered us in the meeting, which was very unexpected. So I can't say exactly what happened.
I'm almost a little okay. So I am recording this meeting, but
it's okay. They told me that I couldn't say anything, and I'm not saying what happened in that meeting.
I just don't want to get anybody in trouble, because I know with the UA, all these different
No,
UAW.
this,
They're
see,
not recorded in.
this is our issue, is this has nothing to do with grad students unionizing. We support them being in the union. There should be and there is a way for them to choose and elect to be part of the union, but that is separate from violating the terms and conditions of an award, is what we're saying. So we're wondering if we can maybe work on a collaborative letter from all the campuses to take up to UCOP and higher than the labor relations people, because I literally got nowhere with them, to bring about the attention of this and how important it is, and that we should not be, violating these terms and conditions.
So I completely agree. And I think actually Irene, and I don't want to, I think she would probably like to be on this committee. I don't want to offer her up her time, but I think because she's the one that brought it to my attention. And yeah, I definitely think we should, go out to the UC, the consortium, if you want me to the web, to the Google group, and then solicit people to get on board. Or you can send, maybe it would be better if you sent something, but it would be great to get a letter going, because this is really, really important. I mean,
Yeah. Is there anybody from Berkeley on the call? No. Okay. When this first came out last year, we briefly talked to Berkeley as well, and they had the same concerns, and they also said that they didn't want to put their trainees into UC Path as well.
Yeah, and it's difficult because our graduate division isn't giving us any direction on this, but I feel like we need an answer. So if we came to them with hey, we're going to present this letter to UCOP or wherever, do you have a comment on it? Are you going to come up with a solution for us before we have to take this step? And I mean, otherwise it's crickets, and it's very difficult for.
Well, I think part of the problem is honestly, like, labor and I don't necessarily blame them. Like, labor relations and grad div, their expertise is not in federal contracting and grant law. Like that's that's not their wheelhouse. They shouldn't be expected to know that.
Yeah.
But when contracts and things like this are being negotiated, those people should have, talked to the correct people. And one of the things that I know that UCOP is often saying to people is they're misrepresenting how things are going. They're like, well, of course students on these are still allowed to work. And we're like, of course they're allowed to work. They're allowed to work in a regular GSR or TA position up to 25%. That's not what you guys are trying to do.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more, it's more nuanced, and they're trying to force these into our system in a way because it's just easier, I think, on their end for that, but it's not the right way to go about doing it.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to think. I'm going to send out something to the larger consortium, and we can hopefully. Would you mind chairing the letter, being on the chair committee, or?
Yeah, I suppose I
hate to
could.
put you on the spot.
Well, no, it's just that literally over the summer and fall, I mean, I've got some things already basically written up. It's the things that I sent to our campus detailing, like, with like the actual verbiage from the NIH rules, etc. And I've spent countless hours on it and
bet,
basically
yeah.
got nowhere. So, I mean, I could definitely do that. I'm sure they would absolutely love to see my name on things again.
Well, I mean, no, I'm also thinking like, well, if you have already presented this to your leadership, maybe we can lift and leverage your letter and we can present this to our leadership and all the other campuses on the call, right?
Yeah.
Because-
No, I can definitely take a first stab at the letter,
Okay.
putting that together.
Okay, and then I will connect, well, you've already been connected with Irene, but I'll reach out to Irene to see if she, you know, wants to work more collaboratively on that. Because we need to get our graduate division moving on this issue. I mean,
Yeah,
one thing I understand, like they may not have the answer, but then tell me that, you know, just
yeah.
be upfront about it and communicate to me and to the campus, you know. So
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing is that, you know, when presented with this information, and it's not just grad div too, they do have to work with labor relations as well, your campus labor relations, and I don't know how yours are. But once our campus labor relations person, her name's Carly, understood, she has been good, but I don't know that she's made any headway with the people at UCOP.
okay. Wow, we're gonna
Yeah.
get sending 2 UCOP letters. They're gonna
This is all just appalling, everything all the way around it. Jill, you are a master of understatement.
I'm sorry, what? A master of understatements?
Yes.
How so?
Oh, you just during this entire, I've just been standing here with my mouth hanging open, and you've said what, and you just like, we should all be
Okay.
screaming. We should all be screaming, and you're just
Yeah,
like,
we really should
yep,
be.
that's the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just, yeah, I mean, I'm just appalled, but anyway, okay,
Well,
so
I mean, and this is specific to our training grants and our training grant group. But the other issue too here on our campus as well with some of my other colleagues in other departments, we feel very uncomfortable being asked to purposely violate terms and conditions of federal awards knowingly. Like, it's one thing if you didn't know and you just like, do, okay, they said we had to put this in, but when you brought it to the attention and you know that this is
Wow.
contradictory and you're still being told to do something, it's a rather disconcerting feeling.
I completely agree. I saw that Jonathan got on the line. I know you might have a comment, but Carrie, Kelly, Carol, anybody else have issues to bring up for today? I thought this was more going to be like an RPPR session, but Kelly, do you have anything? Any questions or struggles, challenges? You're on mute. Sorry.
I started to jump in and said, hey, I've got an RPPR due. And it's like, wait a minute, that's kind of, you know, the salary thing is kind of a little more important. So anyway, the first question I have is about publications, and the information, of course, says well, I'll just put this in the chat about what the recipient must report. And the students are still having a hard time understanding what they're supposed to put on their RPPR, and I'm not very good at helping them. So do they need to, in other words, is there such a thing as having submitted something but not knowing if it's approved, or as soon as you put it in MyNCBI, you know it's been accepted? Does that make sense?
I think so. So you're saying a trainee has a publication. It has a PMID right now, right?
No.
Nothing.
I'm not sure what happens when let's say they've got all their information together and they put it into MyNCBI. at that point, does it automatically say it's been accepted?
No, there's nowhere, it has to be put into, not the trainees, MyNCBI.
Right, the PIs.
It's the PIs, right? So
Mhm.
there's no, I don't think it says that it's accepted. It's just going to show up on their bibliography list. And
Okay.
then you just need to make sure that the training grant is cited to.
That was my next question,
And
yes.
then that way it will show up on your RPPR.
Okay.
I noticed Carol
Um,
on her camera. She's kind of a wizard at this. You might.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know. I've had so many problems with the publications, the last RPPRs, and I have to relearn it every time. So
I know.
this last RPPR, I could have sworn I did everything right. And because it's not, sometimes I have to get help from the professor's assistant to go in and do it, just to
Mhm.
double check. It still didn't record in the RPPR. It says, yes, we have publications, and it didn't populate the submission with the table of publications. So the program officer contacted the PI and said, did you have publications? Because they're not showing up. So, and I think that Dr. McCulloch's, one of his that was done recently is the same thing. It says yes, but there's no publications in the table. So I don't know, and I did an audit, and the publications we identified in PubMed, they'll list the grant number, but not within the body of the publication. So is that where the issue is? It's not actually, okay. So I don't know. I don't know if it's like an error, an ERA Commons error or not.
Yeah, because I don't know how you would. I mean, if you have if it's in if the PI is my bibliography, and that's the contact PI, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then if you have cited, you put in there for the training grant, I don't know why it wouldn't appear. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think one of the other things might be is this particular PI has like 4 different email addresses. And I think that maybe the ERA Commons that we're using is associated with the at UCSD, and then maybe this, and I can't tell if this, if the PI's my bibliography is associated to a previous email, like with SDSC or something like that. So I'm wondering if it's not
okay, so
linking.
now this brings up the issue, like now if you go under their settings and you look under linked accounts, is like all of his, is he linked to his ERA Commons?
Is that the settings in his ERA Commons account, or
No,
his settings in the
MyNCBI?
okay, I'll
the link that they're, you know what I mean? It recognizes all
yeah, maybe it's not linked. I'm gonna have to look at that, because and then we also had a Google transition within the engineering department. I don't know if that's messed stuff up. I don't know.
Who knows?
So
Right?
yeah. So okay, so I'll look at that too to see.
Yeah, because that's the only other thing
situation.
I could think of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As far as why it wouldn't be linked. You know what I mean? Or not appear.
I have a not appear problem happening with the RPPR I'm trying to submit today. And it's B4 where we load the basically the progress report from the trainees and their little blurbs. I've got it loaded. I have printed out a PDF for the PI that shows that the document's there and attached and functioning, but it keeps popping as an error within the RPPR each time I try to validate, saying that I have not answered the question. And I need to either answer does not, whatever it is, does not apply, or upload a document. And I'm like, document's uploaded. When you look at it, there's a link there. There's a document that shows up when I print the PDF. So I've got a ticket open with ERA Commons, but isn't that bizarre?
It is. So like, did you flatten the print to PDF? Does that
That is a very good question. I will go back and do that again. I believe I printed this one to PDF, but I will, that's a good,
I
I
know
will double check.
sometimes that's an issue, but I don't know if, you know.
Yeah,
I
don't know
think
how that
sometimes,
manifests.
sometimes the browser, like sometimes Firefox is better
Is
when
it
you
not?
upload than
That's
Google.
very interesting.
So you could try
Hmm.
that. I've done that before.
Okay, I will try that as well. I've
Is
not heard back on my ticket, which I submitted yesterday morning, I think.
is B4 the section that has to have the diversity report
Yes,
submitted to?
yes. Yep,
Sometimes
I already,
if that's not done by the
Uh-huh.
PI, it'll give you the error too, I think.
yeah, I walked the PI through it. So the PI's already, you know, done the diversity report thing. Yeah, baffling though. So, but okay, thanks for that. That's a good idea. I'm gonna go back and reflatten the document in just in case I didn't flatten that one.
I mean, you know, it can't hurt to try, right? While you're waiting
Yeah.
to area helped us.
Yeah.
So we have a question in the chat from Matthew. The RPPR, where can I find the confirmation? Your recipient ID is the KR record number. So I think it says it's a 5-digit number. So is it the last KR record or is it the first one from the new one? Holly, do you know? When you put the recipient ID?
I believe it should be, it's a new one. Matthew, if
Oh,
one
wait, yeah,
has a
that's right.
business,
They have to, I'm sorry, yeah, they have to do a new
Yeah.
KR record.
yes,
I was thinking that they didn't have to, yeah. So you have to do a new KR record for the RPPR. So it
And
would
if-
be that new number.
yes. And if there isn't one already made, Matthew, I can set one up. I don't recall if I've set, I'll just have to look. I don't recall if I've set up the Martin RPPR quality record yet.
Okay, thank you, Holly. Yeah, I don't think we have one set up yet, but
Okay. I can do
Yeah.
it this afternoon.
okay, thank you so much.
Okay, so I have another question that someone actually emailed me from UC Davis. She's not able to come, she's not even able to log on, but she wants to hear people's thoughts on this. How do other training programs take NIH's mandate to diversify the researcher workforce into account in the selection process? At the recruitment stage, in scoring applications, at the cohort creation stage, we are grappling with different approaches among our programs. I don't know if anybody's on the call that would be a comment on that. I'll also put it in the chat. I don't get involved with like recruitment on that side of it, so I don't know. I can also put this out to our consortium. Oh, okay, I guess we're not gonna get an answer on that one today.
Well, yeah, I've got opinions, but they're just opinions, so.
Well, no, I mean, it'd be kind of nice to hear what you have to think there, Holly. Otherwise, we have dead air. What are they?
Oh, no. Okay, well, I will step up on my soapbox. So, you know, one of the issues that we all have, as far as I can tell, at least at UCSD, is finding ways to track, you know, who's applied and how we can determine, you know, what degree of diversity we actually have in our applicants. And there are lots of questions that could be asked on a standardized application that, you know, would give them the opportunity to choose to answer or not to answer as they wish. But we don't do that. We don't have a standardized way of tracking, you know, the nature of our applicants, which would allow us to track how well we're doing at reaching different pools of potential trainees. And until we are at a point where we're actually consistently, you know, ensuring that all applicants go through a questionnaire like that so that we can tell who's actually applying. And we can only do it at this point really for our medical students who are going on into residency programs, because we track every single application and it's filled out with, you know, all the diversity information that they're willing to submit. And so we get the report and we can use that to say, hey, you know, so of the medical students who applied to this particular division's programs for fellowships, this is their diversity rating. But the trainees that we get, or the applicants that we get that come through other divisions or departments within the university, we have absolutely no idea, you know, where they fall. And so the answer to how do other training programs take the diversification mandate into account is that we don't. And we should be, we have to be, we need to be, and we're not. Stepping down now.
I appreciate that, Holly. I mean, but you know, this is something like how, and this would be a great topic for our subcommittees on the consortium. I mean, how do we solve this? I mean, I guess creating
each campus creates a universal, you know, postdoc application form for every single flipping fellowship, every single, you know, independent researcher project, everything. Otherwise, we don't have that information and we can't figure out what's working and not working.
Yeah, and so I completely agree with, but the problem is how do you get everyone to buy into that? Because I think some T32 programs are good, but not all of them. I know.
You know, I mean, how do we get them to buy into it? We turn into like some sort of mini fascist state and demand that they do this or they don't get to keep their programs. I mean, it's absolutely ludicrous that there isn't some sort of mandate. Anyway.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
I know. It's okay.
You know, it's just the same as, you know, if you don't fill out your faculty review, if you don't turn in your biobib and do all of your paperwork for your faculty review, then you're not going to get promoted and you're not going to get your money.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's true. Okay. Do we have any other exciting topics today?
I didn't into a complaint fest.
I'm sorry, Holly, I'm having a little hard time understanding you.
Oh, sorry. I didn't turn it into a complaint fest, did I?
No. That's no. This is, I mean, but these are the things like we need to discuss, and it's great that they're coming up. I don't have solutions for them, you know, at the snap of a finger, but it needs to be addressed. So
Indeed.
we'll put this on I'll put this on the list, the honeydew
Good
list.
idea. That's right.
The list is getting longer.
Yeah, it's a very long list.
Kelly, did you have a question?
Can I jump back in about publications, please?
No.
Okay. I'll just hang out till after.
No. Let's see if we can
No
figure this out.
problem. I'm gonna wart you. I'm gonna wart you to death.
Yeah. What's up?
I have some trainees who are preparing to submit publications, but they haven't done it yet. Is it okay if they put that under publications on their progress report?
Yeah, they can put it on their progress report, absolutely. And then, you know, sometimes you can like italicize it and say like it's submitted or it's in preparation.
Yeah.
Something like that. And then, I mean, obviously, you know, there's nothing to you know, they haven't submitted it into the NIM system or anything. So yeah, you would have to do it that way.
Yeah. The instructions say that those are the only types of publications that they should have on their progress report, because anything that already has its PMID is going to get pulled by the MyNCBI process.
I think I have more questions, but I gotta look them up, so I'll let somebody else have a turn.
I could fill air by just pontificating.
Hey Cindy, how's it going?
Hi, good. How are you?
Good.
Good. I have just kind of a small question. Um, on the trainees' progress reports
Mhm.
for their publications, should we list the PMID or PMCID?
For their B4 summary, that section.
Well, right now it's just like their handwritten progress reports, which I don't really know if that actually gets the whole thing really isn't.
But
added,
I think
guess,
that the section you're talking about is in section B4 where you put all the trainee
well, true.
summaries.
Yes, it will end
Yeah.
up there.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like Holly was just saying, if it has a PMCID or PMID, it can be listed in the products under the My Bibliography. You know, it's not mandatory to do that. Like we were saying, like if it's in progress or in preparation, you can list it. I think it's duplicative if you put it in both spots, but I don't think there's anything, and correct me if I'm wrong, Holly. I mean, I think you can put it in both spots, right?
It explicitly says in the instructions right now that you should not. It doesn't say you can't, you're going to get in trouble, but it says you should not list.
You don't list it
Yeah.
in both spots.
Oh,
Right. It says you should, and so you ought to list anything that's, you know, in preprint or, you know, anything that doesn't have a product related to the T32 that does not yet have a PMID or is already being pulled into My Bibliography, because
I
those
thought you-
obviously will be there.
Okay, I'm gonna
That's the
look.
language. Yeah, if you want to look at it again,
Yeah, I
that
just
is
want to
how
look at
I
it
read
again
it.
because I feel like you can. It specifically asks for publications, so you know that is
But-
part of their summary. But yet, I mean, and the My Bibliography is like the actual link to the citation. But I'm pulling that
Right.
up.
Yeah, it more or less says you shouldn't. It doesn't say you cannot. I don't know if that's
okay. So I don't need to actually worry about listing either number then.
Mm-mm.
no,
Okay.
not. I would say definitely not. Just
Okay.
you know, the only things that should be reported would be the ones that don't have that. So anything that's not yet reviewed or published, that's the actual work product.
Okay.
Okay, hold on 1 second. I'm just pulling up. Okay, section B4. Okay, a description of the trainee scholar's role in any plan or published papers resulting from research conducted while supporting this award. Note that full citations of all publications arising from work conducted while the trainee was supported by the award should not be reported here, as it will be collected in section C1. Good job, Holly.
Sometimes things stick in my brain.
I thought you could list it in both spots. So no, I guess you don't put the publications there at all. You just list them in C1. Okay. I mean, you're not going to get penalized for it, but it's just
Right.
Well, we listed it, our trainees listed it in theirs for this last RPPR, where it didn't show up in the publications list.
Oh, yeah,
So
of
at least
course.
we have it now, but I don't know
Yeah.
if the, you know, so.
I mean, they're not going to, you know, they're not going to, it's not like this is just a progress report. I mean, it's not like say, you know, slap your hand, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, for policy's sake, in writing, it says, you know, it should be just listed in C1. But if you can't get it in a C1 for some reason, because of the system,
There you go.
whatever,
There you go.
know, you have to list it there. So, yeah. These little nuances change. I just can't keep up with them. I'm too old for this.
Uh-huh.
Okay, anybody else with a question? So I did re-record the publication video because last week I got cut off because my internet just decided to go out. So I did re-record it. So there's that version on the YouTube channel if anyone cares. I think I did it better the second time too. Well, there was
Oh,
no
you
meeting.
re-recorded your whole presentation? Wow.
But it was
That is
only like
dedication.
35 minutes, so, but. Well, I just, I was gonna try to splice it together, and then I was like, you know what, I'll just re-record it, because it's, it was ridiculous, the big gap. Silly. So. Okay, well, there's no more questions. I'll go ahead and close for today, unless I'll stay on. I saw Jonathan Vega left. I know he had a question for me, but his is a pre-award submission question. So there's
But
Kelly.
somebody else asking a question.
No.
I had a couple of questions about, I ask myself this every year and I never write it down. When I turn in progress reports, do I only ask the current trainees for theirs?
Yes, whoever was appointed during this budget period. So let's say 7/1/2023 to 6/30/2024, and that.
Perfect. And
Yeah.
the trainees who have gone off the T32 but have not graduated yet, do I get publication information from them? Do I report publication information?
No, I mean, you mean they're not currently on the training grant.
Correct. But they haven't graduated yet, so they're technically still in the training program.
They're technically still in the training program, but they're not on the training grant, right?
So we don't have to report for them.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't have to report, but their publications could go in the renewal. So
Right. Yeah. No, this is just for the RPPR.
yeah, this is just for the RPPR. But
For the
yeah, that's
reporting period.
a good question. Yeah, it gets kind of confusing and convoluted sometimes. Yeah, I know. Especially when you're reporting for like 3 months that haven't happened yet.
Yeah, that's so weird.
Well, actually, the weirdest ones are the NIGMS, because they're all due November 15th. And you're like, your
That's
grant,
what you said. Yeah.
if your grant could start 9/1 or 10/1, you have basically nothing to write about, and then you still have to do it. It's like, okay.
Yeah, it's no fun. No
Yeah.
fun at all.
Yeah, I
So
have a, never mind.
But Holly, go ahead. She's on the train, so I think she keeps.
Sorry.
there's, like,
I'm-
outside
Yeah,
noise.
they keep making announcements. We're in Oxnard right now. I don't even know what I was gonna say anymore. I just messed with the button and now I don't know what I was gonna say. So never mind.
So Rachel, I just saw Rachel get on. She's the one with the question about. Where's my oh yeah, so I put your question out there, Rachel. We did not get a good. Holly got on her soapbox, if that's helpful, but since we don't. Oh, you're on mute. So yeah, I mean, it's difficult. We just got off on the tangent about how, especially our postdocs, there's no formal application process, and how do you, we don't even have a formal application process. So
to the training grants, or there's no formal application process to be a postdoc at your
At UCSD, period. There is no formal application process,
yeah,
which
I mean, basically
makes it impossible to collect data because we don't have it. We have no data because we don't collect it.
Yeah, our postdoc data is all over the place. And actually I'm talking to somebody at 3 today about Flight Tracker, weather flight tracker. It's a
nice.
Wait, are you talking to Scott Pearson?
I'm talking to our red cap person at UC Davis.
Oh, okay.
Just because it's always just agony to get any information about our postdocs, and it's tough to track career trajectories for our T scholars as well, like for this group. And the idea is that if you have red cap, if you have access to red cap, which we should, that you should be able to run flight tracker for yourself, but I'm happy to report back to this group if that touches on some of the postdoc data
so-
issues.
So it's interesting that you brought this up because yes, this is something that we're looking into. UCLA, of the executive committee, we've been looking into the flight tracker. We don't have it yet.
Summarize, this is actually, this is why we started the UC consortium.
This is kind of, yeah, exactly. This is the whole reason why we started it. So yes, we're looking into that. Our CTSA, CTRI, they use Flight Tracker just for their program, for their KL2, but we're trying to get it for our entire campus. We're like literally going through that process like right now. But I've besides that, I've never actually really used it. I mean, I've seen it. I went to the Vanderbilt meeting. I've seen their videos and stuff like that. But yeah, this is something we would love to do for all of the campuses, is have this flight tracker, especially, if the cost involved. But yeah, so.
Well, it's one of those things that it's like, it really feels like it belongs in our Office of Research, or it really feels like it belongs in grad studies, but we're doing it. So
Yeah.
So it's just, it's one of those things.
Yeah. And because they don't have a solution in our grad department. I know that for sure. So yeah, we're going to be looking into that, but we're actually putting in, because we don't understand like the costs involved with RedCap.
The program itself is free. We don't know. Yes.
But you have to have the server, right?
Right.
Someone has to pay for a server, and then someone you may have a developer go in and update it, right? Make changes for you. Or is that strictly on their Vanderbilt?
That's on the actual software itself, the development is on the Vanderbilt side, but it's open source. So
you can do enhancements.
You can do it. Yeah, you can enhance it yourself.
So yeah, and so we're actually, Rachel, we're Robin on the executive team. You'll meet her. She actually is doing a presentation to UC Braid about the flight tracker on, what is that, February 8th? So like next week.
8th. Yeah.
So yeah, we're just trying to garner support. And I think it would be a great thing if we could get it going enough and see if it works. If we could have it across all the campuses, I think that would be phenomenal. So you guys don't actually use it yet? No. Okay. So, and then UC Irvine does use it. They've just started. I don't think maybe 6 months, right, Holly?
Within the last, within the last year, and they it might be within the last 6 months. They don't feel like they have a handle on it, and they were shy and didn't want to talk to us about it.
Yeah, but that's definitely on our
Thank you. I was just making it a to-do list to check in with them, but I'll wait.
So
you can reach out. Maybe they'll get less shy as the months go by.
For their training programs or just campus wide?
Theirs is for their T32s, just
Cool.
their T32s, I believe, right, Holly? I mean,
yes, and I don't recall if it was for a department or if it was for the campus. I don't remember right now. I'd have to go back to my meeting notes.
So